The inspirational leader is a great coach because the objective is to build a team of people who are better than you. You want to be constantly raising up your team. You want to be standing on the shoulders of giants. I think of organizations as a machine of people. So it's people who interact and they're the ones who do the job. And your job is to work on the machine, not in the machine. And your job is to develop the machine of people and make it better. And that's really coaching. So coaching is a really important skill for a leader. You can't just say, well, my team aren't very good. It's your job to make them better and better and better. So how do we coach somebody? And we're just going to quickly look at that in this video. And the first thing is to divide the task up into the bits that they're going to learn. So if you're going to learn something really big, make it into a series of little steps. It's just like learning to drive. You say, first of all, I'm going to show you the steering wheel, and then we're going to look at the clutch, and then we're going to look at the gears, and then we're going to look at reversing. So you divide it up into steps, and ideally you explain and agree the coaching journey, the learning journey that the person's going to be taken on. With my driving example, you would actually say, here are the 20 things you're going to learn over the next 20 weeks in order to learn to drive. And so we're going to start with the first one today, and next week we'll do the second one. So they can see the route ahead, because that feels exciting for them. They're thinking, brilliant, I'm going to learn all this stuff, and by the end I'll be able to drive a car. So you explain and you agree the route with them. Are you happy? Is this what you want to do? And then for the very first part of the task, there's a coaching process. So what you do is there are kind of 5 stages you go through for each part of the process. And the first thing is you show them how to do it. This is how you do it. And then you watch them doing it. So, okay, now you show me how you do it. So let's say we're reversing a car. You show them how to reverse the car, and then you say, right, I want you to do it now while I watch you do it. And while they're doing it, you say, no, a bit more of that. Yeah, make sure you do that. Remember to do that. And you watch them and you just make sure they're doing it right. So they're doing that. So the next thing you do is you can then leave them for a few minutes to do it. So let's suppose they were steering a yacht. You'd show them how to steer. You'd watch them just to check they're doing it right. And then you'd leave them for a few minutes. I'm just going to go and put the kettle on, back in a minute. And you come back and you just check they're okay. Because you can't watch them all the time forever. So you start to just check on them every now and then. And you gradually get to a point where you only check occasionally. You might go off for a few hours and just come back every now and then. But the point is they can call you if they have to. And then finally, you're not even there. And you just say to them, look, I'm not going to check anymore, but I'm still available. So for these last 2 steps, you're available if they need to call you, if they get stuck. And then once they've learned how to do the first bit, maybe it's the reversing or maybe it's the steering of the yacht, they can go on to the next part. And of course, it could be overlapping. So while you're just checking occasionally on the first thing they've learned, you could then start showing them the second one. And there might be several things they're learning that are all at different stages of the coaching process. I don't know if you know how they train dolphins to jump through a hoop, but what they do, they obviously can't say to the dolphin, this is your learning journey. So unfortunately, you can't do that bit. But what they do is they break the task into small steps. So initially, they put the hoop in the water. And when the dolphin goes through, they give it a fish. And the dolphin likes that. As soon as you put the hoop in, it goes through the hoop to get the fish. And then they move the hoop up so it's slightly out of the water. Dolphin doesn't notice, goes through, gets the fish. And they move it up till it's halfway out of the water, 3/4. The dolphin's still happily going through. And eventually the hoop's completely out of the water. If you just turned up and had the hoop out of the water, the dolphin's thinking, well, I can't do that. But because you've gradually moved it up, then the dolphin goes higher and higher. And eventually, the dolphin is leaping through a really high hoop and just doing it for the fun of it, for the achievement of doing it. Doesn't even need the fish. You give the dolphin the fish occasionally just to show that you're really pleased, but the reward becomes the challenge itself. So coaching always involves gradually increasing the bar. But people don't like it if you suddenly move the goalpost. So with people, you need to say, this is the learning journey. So if you're going to teach somebody how to sail a yacht, you need to show them the whole journey. First I'm going to show you steering, then I'm going to show you the sails, then I'm going to show you navigation, then I'm going to show you maintenance of the diesel engine that you've got as a backup. So you go through all these different stages. And it's quite possible that by the time you're teaching them, let's say navigation, that they're already doing the steering and the sails pretty well. Perhaps the sails you check occasionally, the steering you don't even have to look at now. So they can see all the things they get to learn, and you gradually gradually give them more freedom on each thing they're learning. Final couple of points about coaching. You would probably have a series of regular meetings where you see how they're getting on, and you want to agree how often those meetings are going to be, or at least after each meeting you would agree with them when the next meeting is going to be. So always arrange the next meeting so that you can catch up and see how they're doing. And finally, in your organization, if it's large, if you don't have enough time to coach everyone, you might want to have a system of mentors where everybody can have a mentor. I wouldn't make it compulsory, but it'd be really good if there was a system of people who volunteered to be mentors, and then everybody can have the option of having a mentor. And their mentor wouldn't be their line manager. It needs to be somebody else diagonally across in the organization who people can go to every now and then just to talk about, are you happy? What are your career plans? What do you want to do in the future? Any particular issues? It's really nice to have somebody else as a mentor slash coach. So who have you got working for you that you could coach? And in fact, everybody who works for you, what is the next thing that you're going to coach them in?